Hey guys, Nick here. Welcome back to Nick's Collectables. Before we get started, I'd like to take just a brief moment to ask you that if you like the video, go ahead and give it a like. While you're there, go ahead and hit the sub button and the bell, that way you don't miss anything. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Today we have Roadblock from the G.I.Joe Classified line. Yes, I know, I'm super late to this line. I did everything I could to try to get these in a timely manner, but like many of you, I just could not get my hands on these guys. Anyway, you can see the box is pretty simple and you can get a good view of the character, but for the most part, it's a pretty standard box for the line, so we're not really going to spend a whole lot of time on it. So let's go ahead and get this guy opened up and see how he turned out. Okay, let's go ahead and move this guy forward. I have to say, just out of the box, he's kind of, I don't know, strange. He looks good, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's better than Scarlet in some ways, and somehow worse at the same time. I'm not really sure how they did that. You can see right off, he actually has bicep rotation, which Scarlet didn't. He doesn't seem to have an ab crunch. Well, okay, he might, but his jacket just kind of ruins it. I mean, that said, the overall figure's pretty nice. I mean, it's nice and heavy for its size, and his face has a nice sculpt with good molding. It gives it nice depth, like Scarlet. You know, he's got that kind of dip on his forehead and everything like that that looks really nice. The only thing I don't like about it, well, two things actually, is one, his beard doesn't really seem to be symmetrical on mine. It's like it's missing some paint or has too much paint. The other thing is right around his head in the center, they have this kind of line along it where the mold was. I don't really care for that so much, but I mean, overall, it's small nitpicks on an overall good head sculpt, so it's no big deal. So as we move on from the head sculpt, we're going to go ahead and down and take a look at his jacket. You can see he's got that same kind of weird compass badge thing that Scarlet has on the flak jacket itself. It's a nice color, and the olive green on the jacket next to the red really kind of makes the red pop, and that all kind of comes together really nice. I kind of like that. Even like the star on the pocket, that looks really, really nice. He even has a cool spot for like his knife and everything like that. Now, if you go ahead and rotate him around, you can even see they put a tattoo on like his arm and everything like that. I like the tattoo. I think it looks pretty slick. I'm not really sure if it feels very Roadblock, but it is slick looking all the same, so it's a nice addition. The back of the figure is pretty nice looking. It's simple and clean. It has some nice detailing on it, very much like the front. And it's got that same weird peg. At least this one looks usable, unlike Scarlet's. I'm not really sure why they're putting these on here, since they don't come with stands and they don't really show them in any poses that he stands, but they're there. I also like all the pouches and stuff and the styling on the back. I think that's really nice too. They also did good molding on his arms. I mean, you can really see the muscles standing out on his biceps, triceps, and forearms, giving that kind of ripped look that the character is really known for. I'll be honest, styling-wise, I kind of wish they'd gone with some of his older looks. It just make him look a little bit more like Terry Crews, you know? I mean, he looks imposing enough, and it just feels like the jacket covers up a lot of what made him so iconic in the first place. Moving down to his legs, you can see he's got what looks like some pretty standard cargo pants with pockets everywhere. The only difference is the shin guard on his left leg and his boots, which look armored and have a touch of red, which looks like it was mostly done to kind of give him some more color and break up all the browns and greens that they used on the figure, and to tie the legs more in with the colors on the flak jacket. That really seems to be the only reason they did that. Overall, I kind of get where they were going with this guy. I mean, they're harkening back to an older figure for inspiration, just not the original one that we're all familiar with. I'm just not really sure I like this one. I mean, I kind of wish they'd gone with his old camo tank top and given him more weapons. Maybe make him a little bit wider, more Terry Crews again, for lack of a better word. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the mold, I think it really does show that they love this line and they're trying to combine the old and the new. Speaking of new, there's this gun of his. Again, I don't know if I like it. I'll be honest. It's nice and big, which is great for the character, but I'm not really sure why they try to make it look futuristic. Scarlet's weapons look more normal, and so do Duke's, so it seems like a really weird decision to make this look like some sort of, well, I don't know, laser cannon. Yeah, I know, they shot lasers in the show, but the weapons are always military fare, and this just doesn't look like a military weapon, really. It looks like something out of Aliens. They also had this clip that came with it that just kind of goes on the top of the gun. I don't really know why you can remove the clip, unless they thought it would be easier in packaging than just making it a little wider to make the gun fit. I don't really see ever removing this. It's kind of a nice option, but honestly, when I pulled it out, I first thought it was a claymore, until I started looking at the gun and realized there was an opening there for a clip. So, I don't know. I don't get that part either. I mean, it's okay, but it's nothing amazing. Moving on from his aesthetics, he actually has really good stability and stands up pretty easily. He even seems to have more range in his legs and the forward to the side than Scarlet, but he doesn't have any backwards. It just seems to be the way he's designed. It's kind of odd. He has good movement at the knee, that kind of goes past 90. However, his feet don't really rock back and forth too well, but they do rock side to side. His arms actually pretty easily do a 360, and he has good bicep rotation, which I showed earlier. Which he really needs to be able to hold this monster of a gun they gave him. His head, as well, that moves side to side fine, but it's a little tight moving up and down, so that's not as great as it could be. Overall, he's pretty average on mobility, a little bit better in Scarlet in some areas and a little bit worse in others. Which is why I said at the beginning he's kind of a little bit better and a little bit worse all at the same time, and it was kind of confusing how they did that. In the end, my overall opinion of this figure is, he's pretty good. I wish he had more mobility, like I had said before with the legs. I wish the hands on the entire line would have some joints. I really feel like I had to bend the plastic to get them to hold their weapons. It's an issue I noticed with both figures I've done so far, both Scarlet and this guy, so it's not unique to just Roadblock. I'm really looking forward to seeing Duke and Snake Eyes and seeing how they turn up and how they look as a group as a whole. This one, however, wouldn't be the first one that I would pick up. He'd probably be the last one if I wanted to be a completionist in the line, mostly because I think the camo tank top would have looked better. I think they could have given him more weapons, or weapons that look more like military weapons rather than some sort of futuristic laser cannon out of Aliens. They're small nitpicks, and overall the figure's a high quality figure. It's going to stand, it's going to look nice with the other figures, which you can see here as I go ahead and move Scarlet in. You can see he actually looks really good next to Scarlet. They fit well together as a team. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Do you guys like this figure? Do you like this line? Do you think it's worth spending the money on, or is it mostly a pass for you guys? Go ahead and give me a shout out in the comments and let me know what you think. I'm very, very curious to see what you guys think of these.